Welcome back to the Warlords. We've got a special themed episode for you this week. We are exploring the Dread Fleet faction for 9th Age fantasy battles with our expert Hugo, who'll be bringing this army along to our Riverwood Rumble. Stay tuned to listen in and find out what he's bringing and hopefully how to beat him. Thank you for listening to the Part-Time Warlords. Right, welcome back to the Warlords. I've got Hugo with me, the Dread Elf expert, the Elf expert, for a very special episode. Hugo, what are we going to be talking about tonight?
So tonight, because supplements are allowed at this event, we're going to talk about how to play Dreadfleet, or how to beat Dreadfleet, or what does Dreadfleet do.
There's two thoughts behind this. All right, two thoughts. Number one, you're doing an explainer for your own army, because no one else is bringing Dreadfleet. Or I don't know even if people have brought Dreadfleet to an Australian event.
Or someone's not even opened the book.
Absolutely. We're going to do this so that people can listen in and know exactly how to beat you, right? Know exactly what the weaknesses are in the Dreadfleet.
Sure. Assuming I understand the book.
You're going to understand it better than most, I hope.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll give it a go.
Modest.
We'll give it a go.
He's modest. He's probably figured it out. The Dreadfleet, give us a round out. Why are you bringing the Dreadfleet? Aside from they're allowed.
Look. Besides the fact that they're allowed. Oh, geez. I don't know.
But you're aside from maybe like demons, you play demons quite a lot, right?
Yeah, so I played demons. The last few events I've played warriors. But I guess I don't know. I think just the last event down at Melbourne, coming out of it, I was like, seeing everyone playing Dread Elves, I'm like, I want to play Dread Elves too.
Yeah.
And this is like kind of Dread Elves. Well,
kind of Dread Elves.
To me, like the Dread Fleet is kind of like your Dread Elves and your Wood Elves together, but without any of the crazy shooting that you see from the Sylvan Elves. The Sylvan Elves.
Yeah.
Because you'll see a lot of the rules kind of double up, except for a lot of your forest things, they become water features.
Yeah. So you've got a bit of so this army, would you say, is kind of geared towards like a bit of like the Dread Elves are, kind of a mixture of MSU, MMU type of mix?
Yeah. So if you it's definitely MSU and MMU, just because when we look at the book, you'll see that the unit sizes aren't too big, and I guess that kind of makes sense. Like boats aren't big, can't have too many bodies on a boat, so
can't have too many bodies on a boat.
I think that's how it works. I don't know.
Then, do they have a lot of mystical elements and like magical monsters and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, so obviously it's got all the Dread Elf like water stuff. So obviously there's no hydras, it's all krakens. It's all about the kraken. You don't have manticores as per se. You've got this other thing, which is like a foot manticore, I would describe it as.
There's my daughter running in to check out how the elves work, because she herself is playing high elves at the moment.
Oh, hello.
Who are you?
She's blurred because she's underage.
Or she's part of the background. She's in the background.
I'll just pause it for a sec. And without further ado, we're going to release the Kraken. You ready, Hugo? Let's do it. So, the Dread Fleet. Here we go.
Sure.
The Sylvan Elves mishmashed with Dread Elves, who are also on boats. Yeah. But not too big a boats.
Not
the massive black arc sort of things.
Small boats. So I guess we'll just go quickly. Basically, there's the army-wide special rule thing is first turn shooting isn't good and first turn charging isn't good. If you're more than 12 away.
Yeah.
Except it's soft cover, so your catapults don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Cannons also don't really care because they ignore cover, so it's just the pesky bows and crossbows and handguns that get affected.
Yeah. And you've got this concept of the dread fleets, right? So you're actually like a sub faction.
Yes.
And wherever I see Pearl Throne, I'm just assuming that's like the substitute for the substitute for the name of the king, right? Kind of like with High Elves, you got the Phoenix King. We just rename it to the Ashore King or whatever it is, right? You've assured me that there is only one unit with barbed nets. Is that right? Because I had
Yep.
being a goblin night goblin guy.
I mean, we'll go through the book and take a look, but I'm pretty sure no
Yeah.
one else has. Like obviously this looks very intimidating. -1 strength, -1 AP on a 2+.
Yeah.
But I assure you, only one unit has it, and that's not really going to save that unit.
Yeah. Yeah. As with everything in Ninth Age, right? You're not going to find anything that's like out of the box going to destroy everybody
No.
and be unfair. So, kind of like with Coastal Predator, it's pretty like conditional, right?
Yes.
Everything's fairly conditional. You got your dev charge, hard target, but with a bunch of restrictions. You got to be in water terrain and stuff like that. But thematically cool.
Yep.
And we've got Terrors of the Deep, so we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go and have a look at the Armory. Armory's pretty straightforward, like the Corsair type units have. What do they call Corsairs now? I still look at them and go Corsairs.
I think they're still Corsairs.
Yeah.
This thing is Sea Serpent's Hide +1 armor. Is very prevalent through the book. But don't worry, no one has a shield. So basically
5-up armor all around.
Basically, it's just 5. Oh, actually, technically, someone has 4-up armor, which is weird. But
okay. I remember again, Dread Elves were in the first battle report I ever read in the White Dwarf, and they were battling against the undead, and they had these Corsairs, with the old metal Corsairs. They were fantastic. I've only got about 3 of them. Probably cost $25 each. And they were heavy. They were metal heavy models, and I'm thinking they better have effing heavy armor. I think they still only had like a 5-up or a 4-up armor save.
It's like a 5-up close combat, 4-up from shooting.
Mm-hmm. And they would just look so cool and tanky. But, elves in practice now have really evolved into this glass cannon sort of mold, haven't they? With pretty much all the infantry. It's lots of attacks or a few really high strength attacks as well. Kind of, example A being the repeater repeater hand bows. You get plenty of shots, but what is it normally hitting on? Always hitting on 4s or 5s with the hand bows?
Should be typically 4s, just because it's actually quick to fire. So there's no long range modifiers and there's no move to shoot penalties.
Yeah,
usually 4s.
Yeah, and there's no, again, coming back from Old World, there's no multi-shot penalty or anything like that. It's what you see on the profile is what you get. All right, so the hereditary. So hereditary spell, something you can access throughout the battle. Is it anything useful, Hugo? The Tempest of the Storm Witch. I mean, it sounds scary.
Yeah. Look, magical moves are typically always good. Except for I don't know how to use them well.
Losing scoring is big. I mean, I find that, magical moving up on the flanks is great. So maybe the scoring thing isn't so much of a drama because that's going to be maybe your monsters and characters and stuff like that.
It already don't have scoring to begin with.
Exactly. And you gain Coastal Predator, again, fluffy.
That one's weird just because most of your monsters will have it, so you don't need it.
True.
And it's just really for your infantry units.
Do you see yourself taking the hereditary at all?
Not really, no.
Yeah. Okay. And just for background info, in your list, what magic laws are you taking? Or thinking of taking?
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft's all around, useful all around and has its own magical moves, right?
Yes. So with every supplement book, obviously you get a smaller version of the magic items. Pretty sure most armies have twice, if not 3 times as much common items.
Yep.
Of noteworthy, I guess, Black Banner is quite worth note. It gives the unit fear.
So this will go on the special infantry or any of the special units. Yep.
Yeah, so you get rerolls to into ones, and then fear tests taken by enemy units are minimized.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's cool.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Maximize fear tests. Maximize fear tests. Okay. Nice.
Yes. I pretty sure I've got this item in the list.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Feign Flight Banner of Tides for infantry models only. That's an interesting one. A bit of magic, hard target. That's pretty good. But that's pretty expensive, actually. 55 points. But
yeah, that's a weird one. Because I think magic resistance is 30 points. So
it's about 30 points.
Yeah, 25 points for hard target. But I think most of the things you have already have hard target.
Okay. Does hard target stack?
I think it does.
No distracting doesn't.
I think it does. But you've also got conditional hard target if you're in water. So you're kind of... Yeah.
This is where the Sylvan Elves comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Sylvan Elves.
Absolutely.
So obviously, Chester's Fog, you get to put down a water feature.
Okay. So, do you reckon you're bringing any of these? Probably Black Flag?
So probably the chest I'll bring.
Yep, Chest of Enveloping Fog, yep.
Yep, so you just get a free water terrain feature within 6 inches.
You're literally Sylvan Elves, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that little touch. And pretty much the goal of this is just to actually highlight these because they've just been updated, all the supplemental books. So it's great to see they've actually had points adjustments. So they've actually thought about, hey, is stuff balanced? Is stuff going to be used in, casual and competitive? All right, so as you would with all the kind of Dread Elf factions, you've got this sort of pirate slaver theme going on, right? Where you're kidnapping people on the high seas and taking them back to the Republic, as they call it.
Yes,
the Republic. And of course you got the captain, but he does have. Is he the Dread Captain? It looks like he's like your medium level. We don't have a prince.
Yeah, but you can pay 60 points to make him equivalent of a prince. Basically, he gets +2 attacks, gets an extra 100 points of magic gear, and you get you can modify the deployed roll by -1. So you get better chance of going first, I think.
Okay. He reads the winds. He's a sea captain in skill.
Yep.
And
assassin is no different from the Dread Elf assassin, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just before that, I just look at the mount options. You've got 2 special mount options there, which is kind of awesome.
Yep.
So I'm sure we'll come to those later.
Colossal Kraken's also pretty special as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really the only difference, isn't it, to the...
Yep.
Okay.
Just a heads up. Yeah, I've put a Dread Captain on Colossal Kraken.
Oh, amazing.
Just because I can.
Why not? You just mentioned Renegade Assassin. I mean, they've got Strider Water. That's literally the only thing I'm seeing different there. Anything I missed? +1 to wound. Yep. No. Poison, paired, AP3. Nice stuff.
Maybe he's 10 points more because he's got Strider Water.
He just loves water. I mean, which is good for infantry, honestly. Actually, I rate that because infantry are the only people who really care about water, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. So we've got, they're the, sort of standard things, but we've got the freebooter. I have not had a look at the freebooter. So
I think it's just carbon copy of the Warlock. Nothing different. Only different thing.
Okay.
You have different mounts. Different laws. You get shamanism.
Yep.
Which is a bit different.
And they've disadvantaged you if you want to take them as the cheap general, which I know Dread Elves, they tended to grab the Warlock general, right? But then they turned it into the outcast. So this, they can't be the leader. They're meant to be like this mystical kind of person they don't trust a little bit. They're not meant to be the military leader exactly. 340 for the Exarch.
Yep.
The Exarch. So this is your priestess.
Yes. So
it's the proper sea witch.
Yeah. But obviously the most important thing is you get any unit this person joins has Coastal Predator and they've charged lethal strike, which is good because the army doesn't have too high of an AP. especially Corsairs being Stroke 3, they have no AP at all. This is special in terms of if you pay 41 points, you can pick the 5 and 6 spells as well. But honestly, yeah, nothing else to really run
5 and
about.
6 spell of shamanism or witchcraft. So you've got the beast in shamanism. That's that's pretty neat.
And
Both
the
of them are
D10.
really good, actually, aren't they?
Yes, I think for witchcraft it's like rerolls to wound.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the 5th spell actually.
So some really cool options there. And again, you've got the beast that you're summoning, and you could make it any sort of water creature, right? Thematically. Oh, that's pretty fantastic. Okay, so a bit of versatility there. You can take as many of those as you want, but yeah, you still can't make them a master, right?
No.
Just sort of adepts. But again, they've got that Exarch stat line. If anyone knows, they've still got the 4-up ward in melee, which is pretty sick as well. 5-up, 4-up. All right, so pretty useful ones there. We'll just have a look at the Fleet Pegasus, the character mounts. We start off with the Fleet Pegasus, which is what you'd expect. It's that sort of very light monster.
It does have Vanguard, which is different.
Okay, so Vanguarding Pegasus. Oh, that's... Move 8. Okay, so... I mean, I don't take them very often, so I'm not sure if 8 is... 8 still sounds really good to me. And just kind of like a mixture of things. Yeah, the Vanguard seems to be the most interesting thing there. This Ocean Terror, you're not taking this Ocean Terror. Is this kind of like a Manticore type thing?
Yeah, I've got one of them.
Okay.
It's like your foot Manticore, basically. But most importantly, it's got the Coastal Predator. So because it's a large cavalry model, it still counts as being on foot. So you would basically move, drop the chest, then you'll be in the water, so you get the hard target cumulative with your hard target 1 already. And then, you're basically charging 10 because you get +2.
Wow.
Being in water, so it becomes pretty good.
Fantastic.
Pretty good.
I'm visualizing all those sea monsters from the Kings of War kit. I know Kings of War has a bunch of weird looking sea monsters and myrmidons and things like that. Wow, so move 10 charge. It's got distracting on the charge, which is pretty awesome. Poison and the buffed up stomp. Hey, that sounds good to me. I think it's under 200 points. I think it's about 190 on the captain. So hey, that's pretty good value. It's not going to add anything defensively besides hard target and 4 wounds and res for elves.
Res 5, yeah.
Hey, that seems pretty awesome actually. Chuck Destiny's Call on it or whatever, and you're good to go, right?
Yes. I don't think you even need Destiny's Call because you're already at a 4-up armor save.
You get the 4-up ward, right?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can do the regen thing. I think it is.
Oh yeah, you can go the you can go the +1, +1 armor and 4-up fortitude. Yeah,
but you have no shield, so you can't really get a good armor save.
That's it. There's not enough. They've used all the wood on crafting the boats, so they don't have enough to give to the joiner to get some shields.
No.
But the star of the show is the Colossal Kraken. Take us through the Colossal Kraken.
It's good against large and gigantic models.
It's a big ass Kraken.
Yeah. It's got 7 wounds.
And the same rules as the normal Kraken, pretty much, just with the buffed up wounds.
Yeah, exactly the same, except there's a character riding on the back of it this time. That's about it.
And your character benefits from distracting.
Yes.
Oh dear. Okay, and it's got defense 5. Very good stat line.
Yes.
All right, watch out for the Kraken. Literally, watch out for the Kraken when he unleashes it. On the big base, though, correct?
Oh yeah, 100 and 150.
Okay. What have you what modeling are you thinking for this thing, or have you already started, or you already have something in mind?
Just putting the Kraken, regular Kraken on a bigger base, and just putting a guy riding it.
Yeah, guy riding on the big Kraken model. I always thought that model was quite gigantic to begin with. It's a nice model. I don't have it. I've got a I think I've got like a Bones Reaper miniature that I'm using for it. For the mini Kraken. I don't have a big one. We're going to switch back to single view now.
Sure.
Basically, guys, I'm doing this as a test video. If you're listening along and you're wondering what is going on, we're also doing a test video recording. So we've got the core now. So core 25% as per usual, but we've got two interesting ones. The one you always expect is the Corsairs. They're of course, when I first built my Dread Elf army years ago to play in Canberra, I think it was, I brought it down for CanCon. I tried to theme it around one big block of Corsairs just because I love the kind of beachy theme, and I went for a lot of beach on my bases with a bit of that liquid. I don't know what you'd call it, like resin effects or something like that.
To get the water effect on the base.
Yeah, and I did it on quite a lot of my models, but especially the Corsairs. These Corsairs, they got the serpent hide, they've got light armor, they're the standard as Hugo mentioned. They
have heavy armor.
Oh, well,
So-
yeah, the equivalent of heavy armor.
No. As in there's two variants. You
Yes.
pick one of the two. One of them actually has heavy armor, so that
Yep.
gets you to the 4+.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the other, which is a light skirmishing type, which I would presume people would give handbows to.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've got the heavy borders,
Yep.
and you've got the Ravagers. Okay, instantly. So you've got like a Raider light infantry variant, and you've got a heavy infantry variant. That's really nice that they've just kind of made a little tweak like that. Being a Dark Elves, they get that +1 to wound in first round of combat. Is that right?
Yes. And then the Ravagers will also get extra support too, so they actually get 2 supporting attacks instead of just a regular 1. So they're actually decent.
That's fantastic. And it looks like they've also got immunity to the effects of fear.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh no,
Okay,
that one's if an enemy unit's in contact with it that's not immune to fear, they suffer -1 discipline.
Yep.
So it's a rule that seems good, but I don't know if I would put Ravagers into close combat.
Yep.
So
They're skirmishers, they're light troops, they're hard targets. So they've got all the hallmarks of a good skirmishing unit, don't they? Literally. And the repeater handbows. March and shoot, what does that get you, Hugo? 22 inches?
yes. Oh well, yes, 22 inches, but
Okay.
that would
Not
only
from the
be
back rank, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So to go with the Corsairs who are your run in the mill, you've got this unit. What's the next unit in the core?
They're just dogs.
Sea wolves. I don't know how wolves end up at sea. I don't know why they're there. They're salty dogs.
Like they're pretty
Hungry?
good dogs. They're 2 strength 4 attack dogs with poison.
They're tough 4 dogs. They're tough, salty dogs.
Yeah.
Honestly, res 4 dogs sounds good to me.
With Vanguard, Coastal Predator, like it's actually pretty good.
Do you get the feeling, Hugo, with a lot of these supplemental books and even some of the newer 9th Age books, that they kind of like, they're just like, oh, we just need to give them as many kind of buffs as possible to the shit unit just to make it look good, and then it gets a little bit too good in some ways.
I don't know, like to me it's like you get a chaff unit for core.
Yeah. 140
Absolutely.
points, 5 to 10, so you could take the bigger unit or you can just leave them in their little darts.
Yeah.
But they got 2 poison attacks. I'll take anything with 2 poison attacks.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, that is the end of your core. So you are going to see some sea wolves, I hope. Are we going to see sea wolves?
Yeah.
Yes.
You will. You'll
Yes.
see 2 units of Corsairs and the unit of Seawolves, I'm pretty sure.
All right, fantastic.
Pretty sure.
That takes us up to special. So extremely small selection of core, but very versatile units, it seems. You've got a lot of options there, and some, the sea wolves with all their attacks, you could use them to actually fight if you want to take a big unit. All right, so now we're kind of getting into the specialized infantry. This one's a bit of a weird one. We've got the Dread Mariners. So Dread Mariners, are these the sort of these are the veteran sailors?
Yeah. Sure. The Corsairs that have been on 2 voyages.
Yeah.
Let's say.
2 strength 5. Oh yeah, 2 great weapon attacks
So
with AP 3.
Yeah, they're basically the copy and paste version from the Wood Elves, the Sylvan Elves. They have a unit that's exactly like this.
I was about to say executioners. I'm like, no, they're not executioners.
No, not quite executioners. I don't know what that unit's called.
Yeah, the guard. They're like the equivalent of the upgraded Glade Guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So offense and defense 5. Yeah, just like those normal Glade Guard actually.
Yes. And they come with a great weapon as well. And they also get the +1 to wound, so I guess they're better than the Wood Elf, because the Wood Elf ones only get the Strider Forest thing, whereas these get Strider Water.
Yep.
So they sort of get pseudo +1 strength as well.
Yeah.
You can likewise also purchase Vanguard for them. But it's weird because unlike the other courses, this Vanguard doesn't help your characters. But I think it's meant to. I think it's a misprint.
Yep. Is that there's a little asterisk here next to Vanguard. Is that what that's alluding to?
But it should have it at the bottom, right? Like what the asterisk means. But for the courses they do, but for these they don't.
Okay. Strange. Are you bringing any Dread Mariners?
I am bringing Dread Mariners. But yeah, like I said, there's only 10 to 20, so it's actually
10 to 20.
Cool. Yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah, we're not going to see a horde of them. No.
Too strong.
They're scary and big hordes.
Like if you brought like 30 of these with like the black banner thing, it's like crazy. Crazy good.
Yeah. 16 points isn't crazy expensive either, right?
Nope.
Okay, 16 points a model. All right. And one that I know that a few people have been kind of mucking about with, is it the Thunder Packs in the Dread Elves? Is it called Thunder Packs still?
Yes, but these ones are more like these are more basically just Pegasus Knights.
So Thunder Riders is the next choice. 3 to 4 models, about 60 points a model. They can go up to 8 per army. So what you can get 2 units of 4. And they are a large cav. And yeah, you're right. They're Peg Knights. Tell us a bit about these guys.
I guess that 2 wound Peg Knights that are good on the charge. But I mean, they don't have a shield, so you get.
Oh my god, they don't have a shield.
A mighty 4 armor save. So no, thank you.
And barb nets. There's your barb nets.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't have barb nets.
Yeah. 50-point upgrade.
Oh, 50-point upgrade. Yeah. So,
but I'm thinking about it like thematically as well. Yeah, like riding on a Pegasus, you're going to be hunting down stuff and chasing them down, throwing these barb nets at them. That actually makes sense in my head.
But what are you fighting with your
exactly.
Peg Knights that require barb nets?
Like,
you're not that good. You're only 2 attacks, strength 5, AP2 on the charge.
Yeah. With the Pegasus, you've got 4... is that 4 strength 5 attacks?
4 strength 5, but 2 of them get +1 hit, +1 wound.
Yeah, so they're a bit of a light, large cav, if that is a thing.
Because it's like the only good thing you'd fight against is, let's say, you fight another monster. -1 strength and AP is like most. Like if it's actually strong monster that's strength 7, it won't matter. They'll eat through your armor anyway. So or you're hunting.
So it's a flanker.
Yeah, you're hunting.
It's a good
down
flanker.
A war machine. I guess you could combo charge, I suppose. So you flank, and then you've got a unit of Corsairs in the front or something like that.
And they've got Skirmisher, they've got Vanguard, so they're fast. They're really fast. Are you bringing them?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think so at all. They've got a full command option and everything. Like, there's a bit of a weird in-between unit, so I don't blame you.
If I could play a unit of 6, I would go, I can, I guess. But 4 is only 8 wounds? Like, nah.
Yeah. You're not getting that second rank of attacks with the pegs either, so it's kind of... You're just getting 4 of them and going 4 wide or nothing, right? Okay, so I keep saying salty veterans every time, but now we're actually up to the saltiest of veterans. There's different levels of salt in this army. how on earth are they going to make more Corsair models relevant in an army? What other salty veterans, Hugo?
I don't know. Salty veterans. When I look at the stat line, I go, oh, they're just tower guard or obsidian guard that
Oh, okay.
decided to go on a boat because
Okay.
they got 2 attacks each, and they have a halberd. So that's what I think.
Okay. So they got fear. They've got fear because they've probably got eyes missing and limbs missing and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
They got scout. Okay, scout. That's interesting.
Mm.
And they've got 5 up armor as you'd expect. But like you said, you got barb nets included.
Mm.
You've got the halberd, so you're going to be strength 4 and then AP 2 attacks, +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and yada yada. But then they've got these captain's orders. So what's captain's orders?
You either get light troops or you get scoring. So,
Light troops or scoring? Okay.
For
scouting and scoring.
Yes. So for some of the special missions, like your breakthrough, or your the pennies one is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Which we have both of at the Rumble coming up.
No, but our pennies one isn't a pickup penny. It's more.
Oh, it's not a pickup pennies. That's what.
Yeah, because if it's a pickup penny, you can just pick it up turn 1 and start. You scout onto it and start running with the penny.
Yep.
Which is good, but that's not happening.
And the salty veterans, hilariously, have a unit size I don't think we've seen for infantry.
12,
besides, shades, 5 to 12 models.
I mean, they play very much like shades because you can buy them to handbow.
Yep.
Which, I mean, 165 points for the first 5 is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have the poison that the shades have. So it's like you're not as good as shooting.
Yeah.
You're better in combat. But why are you in combat?
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you bringing them?
Probably no.
On the shelf? Nah. On the fence? Nah, he's not on the fence. Nah. Not salty enough to bring the veterans with their weird mix of rules. But they sound kind of fun. I like the idea of scouting and scoring and shenanigans like that. All right, so that's pretty much ending the special section.
So
you've got a kind of a weird mix of light infantry, light cavalry, and things. So I'm not super scared of that yet. So what have we got that's going to terrify us? The fleet menagerie. Are these the monsters?
Yeah. So this is like all the rare stuff.
Okay.
So a 40% cap, which is pretty generous. I think most armies only have like a 30% cap on the really good stuff.
Yep.
So I think this
like your ancient allies and stuff like that for highborn elves. Yeah, so you can take the double dragon, but not the triple or whatever else.
Exactly.
Especially at 3,500.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what's the first one?
The Tritons are basically the Medusas in the Dread Elf book, with just some small changes, like they have Coastal Predator because they belong in the water. And then they have this Siren Song ability, which is makes it difficult for people to do combat reform and march tests. Okay.
Well, that can be pretty good, actually, the march test one.
They can also be a wizard as well. The spells are all right, I believe. I think it's the Fate's Judgment is the D6 hits, showing how is the -1 to wound from shooting attacks. Will-O-Wisp is the random movement and the hereditary spell. Which is, pretty meh.
Yeah. There's Supernal. Ooh.
Yeah.
Are the normal ones for the Dread Elves, are they Supernal as well? Okay,
exactly.
I've always wanted to use them, but I've never been able to find I think they call them the Melusai Stalkers, the Age of Sigmar models. Yep. I've just never been able to find them at a decent price. They always seem to be ridiculously expensive.
Oh,
I just love those models. You've got those models, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, I think I've seen you use those.
I do.
So these Tritons kind of they don't really have like any other sort of buff going for them. 3 strength. Do they have a halberd? No.
So they got paired weapons for free.
Oh, there it is down there. Sorry, you can buy paired weapons for free? Okay. Halberd for 15 points. Yeah, 15's a bit. but you're only looking at units of 2 to 4, as you said, with that wizard conclave where you can get a wizard adept. What do you reckon? Are you bringing them?
Yes, I will bring them. I think
Oh, okay, awesome.
2 more, like probably as a unit of 2, it's all right because it's a pretty good chaff clearing unit that's cheap.
Yep.
Because you 210 points for 8 strength, 4 attacks, +1 hit, +1 wound. So if you just put, I don't know, it'd be 7 attacks if you put them in a congo line.
Yep.
It'd be 8 if you put side by side, as well as stomp and everything.
Yeah, which pretty much clears out any other chaff that you've got. And they themselves are going to be probably, if you're not obviously without the wizard, they're probably going to end up as chaff at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
I really like that they've got that siren song, so they're going to lull all the enemy chaff who are dogs most of the time into failing march tests and mucking up all their movement as well, because I always seem to have that happen. That's really good.
Or even the good one is just throwing them into, like if you want to use them as a flanking unit, even the -2 with the fear, it's actually like -3 to turn your unit around, even if they win the combat.
Yeah, reform test, Okay, watch out, guys. He's going to make you unreformable. And, of course, the staple, probably the one unit that makes this book possible, literally with it existing, right, is the Kraken itself. The Kraken, I believe, in fantasy is called the Charybdis. Is it still called the Charybdis? With the rows and rows of venomous teeth?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. So this is where it's come from. But it is, as Hugo said before, it's a monster killer.
Yes.
Are you bringing a Kraken or 2 or 3?
Well, I'm bringing a Kraken.
Okay, thank God, because you got the Colossal Kraken as well, right?
Yeah.
Which shares most of the same rules.
Yeah, you can only bring 1 Colossal Kraken, but I was a bit disappointed.
Only 1 colossal monster-eating monster.
Yes, only 1.
Oh, that's sad. That's so sad.
But I mean, why bring this? You're paying I think you pay a lot more points for this one than the Dread Elf one. I think the Dread Elf one you only pay you pay 30 points less for the Dread Elf one, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think it's the Colossal one. Are you talking about?
Yeah, Colossal one. I think you pay 30 points less.
Yeah, because I remember the 380, 390 or something like that being the standard one.
Yep.
So again, you've got the offense, defense 5 monster, which is hilarious. I've always loved that about their Hydra and the Kraken. They've got offense and defense in 5. Distracting hard target again, because they've only got a 4-up armor. That is it. But they do have hatred. I don't remember them having hatred. Fantastic hatred against large and gigantic. So they're gonna absolutely annihilate my rat ogres with multi wounds D3. Only 4 attacks, but that's still that's most likely 12 wounds to my rat ogres, right?
Wow. 8 wounds.
8 wounds. 8 wounds to my rat ogres. So you've got 1 Colossal Kraken and 1 Mini Kraken?
Maybe.
Okay. Can you actually... You've mathed it out. You can take 2 Colossal Krakens or no?
No, you can't take... the Colossal Krakens have a 0 to 1 limit. So
okay. Sorry, yes. And they share that with the mounted version?
I presume so.
Okay. Let's say so. We don't want 2 of these scary mothers running around with their 7 wounds.
I mean, it is only 3,500 points. Fair enough. We shouldn't have 2 gigantic things. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. They're kind of points equivalent of the Warriors of the Dark Gods monster, right? What's the name of that thing? The Wasteland Beast? No, I'm Behemoth. They're around the 380, 390, lots of wounds.
Probably,
but this is the opposite. It's got heaps of special rules, whereas that one has just brute stats.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm still scrolling down. There's still more to go. This is where the Dread Elf book pretty much ends, right? It ends at the Hydra and the Kraken. Yeah. So it's got to be something else down here.
All right.
The Avatar.
This is the auto include.
Here we go.
The auto include,
What is it? First of all, it's the Avatar of Harag. Like thematically, what on earth is an Avatar of Harag?
I don't know, man. Just something.
So it's a magical monster that can possess sea monsters. It uses what? High magic deep within the oceans. Oh dear. So this is like the magical kraken.
Yeah, sure. The magic, sure. I just call this the auto include.
It's the auto include. Okay. I'll just go through some of the basics, then you can tell me why it's an auto include. It's a large beast. It's got
No. How about Chris? You tell me why it's an auto include. You should
as I go through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Figure it out.
All right. So it's got your coastal. It's got all that sort of stuff. The water terrain bonus. Oh, special ambush water terrain. Okay. It's got the other stuff, but it's got one special rule here, Omen of the Dread Fleet. Let's fly down here and double check this one here. I can choose a piece of terrain that turns into water terrain. Okay. There's got to be that, right? Just pick something and turn it into water, and basically you give a buff to your entire army. In addition, while the model is on the battlefield, all water terrain features on the battlefield are considered DT1s for all models. So you're telling me, Hugo, on the right map, you can sit in between 3 pieces of water terrain. The one that you've turned into water, the one you created, and the one that's on the map already. That's fantastic. It's DT1s to everyone. Yep. You have Strider on it. You have +2 charge out of it.
Hard target.
That's fun. That is fun. I love when they really lean into these sorts of things, just to really ham it up.
Yep.
You know, like it's water terrain. Like it's, you know, don't chuck your infantry in it, but that's about it. You know, you lose your steadfast, but you've got this guy, which is basically going to turn the whole battlefield into the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, in theory, that's what he's going to do. Also has, I'm guessing, toxic. It's got a special attack.
Mm-hmm.
Toxic scum. Toxic scum. Okay, I'm guessing this is loosely based on some sort of sea creature's poisonous secretions or something.
Yep.
Initiative 10. All other units engaged in the same combat as the model suffer D6 +1 hits with toxic attacks at initiative 10. Yeah. Nice. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty much stats are all 5s, all around 5 attacks, 5 HP, strength 5, tough 5. Aegis 5, fortitude 5, everything's a 5, armor 5.
Yeah, that's all 5.
Hatred with 5 attacks, hatred with AP 3. Okay. Yeah. 355. Okay. So that's a sort of equivalent to your buff wagons. The Cauldron?
Yes.
That's around that points cost, isn't it? I'm loving that. I can see why you auto included that, Hugo. Anything else to add about the avatar?
It fights all right. It moves.
Does fight all right, eh?
Fights all right. Moves pretty fast.
Yep.
Even if
special ambush water. Do you not do that because?
There is one thing. If it dies, the water becomes regular water. All the water becomes regular water.
While the model is on the battlefield. That was my second question. If it's on special, if it's got special ambush, does that mean you'd have to?
No.
Its power would not work.
Yeah.
Until it comes in. Oh, so that's a double-edged sword there. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm no way you're special ambushing this then.
Depends what you've got on the field.
It's true. If you're standing back, you wouldn't care, right? Because you're not coming into the water. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Very cool. I'm actually really excited to see this guy out because he's got some cool special rules, but he's nothing like super crazy. But just a culmination of how you would use him well, which I know you, of course, will do a pretty good job of, at least in one game.
I'll attempt to. I haven't used it before.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. You're very good with your smaller sort of maneuverable units and things like that. So I know you'll make good use of it, and I'm at least going to get like 2 complaints about this unit.
2 complaints, yeah, probably.
I reckon it's over under 2. I reckon at least 2 complaints about this unit going, oh my God, I can't believe it can do that. That just mucked up my entire entire plan.
Yep.
And I think we're on our last one now.
Mm-hmm.
So we just had that avatar, which is quite special, quite unique.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is a repackage.
No.
Well, I mean, a lot of the other ones are repackages, but the Sea Fog Leviathan, is that the mist the mist monster from the Dread Elves. They've probably done a better job with the monster in this book than they had it in the Dread Elves book, right?
Yes, they did.
Because it's a bit of it's stuck in between, isn't it? It's trying to be the sea themed raiders, and then it's trying to be the military academy auxilia sort of faction.
It's kind of like, the fleet people always use this. It must be good. So we should bring it along as well. The process. But they haven't. So it's weird. They haven't quite figured out how to use it properly on land, I guess.
Yeah.
So though this one is the same amount of points.
Yeah.
This one's again also another auto include.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So this is a sort of a sea themed magical entity. It's The Mist. It's Stephen King's The Mist on a 100 by 100 mil base. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It just, if anything touches it, it dies, and it just confuses everything in its radius. That's very confusing.
Not that good, but
not that good.
Auto include regardless.
But it terrifies everyone who's within the mist. It's an 8 wound res 5 distracting monster. So again, it's like a specialized monster, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's got a few attacks, nothing crazy. So why is it interesting? Why is it an auto include? What have we got? Advancing Gloom.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a bit about that.
So that Shrouded by Mist army-wide special rule. If you have one of these, it takes it to the second turn as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So just for the sake of that, I mean.
And Shrouded by Mist, just to refresh, is that in Army Special Rules? Yes?
Yeah, so that's the one where any shooting 12 inches away is considered in soft cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then any charges that are more than 12 inches away have to be minimized.
Wow.
Unless it's a predator. So I think most people do charges over 12 inches anyway. And being minimized, I think that takes at least 2 off the charge.
Mm-hmm.
So a 15-inch charge and minimized is kind of a 17.
Mm-hmm. And is it soft cover and, I'll just double check here, -1 enemy units within 8 suffer. Yeah. Oh, it's only close.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this have, it has light troops, it doesn't have any special deployment, but I can see, your Shrouded by Mist is really going to benefit maybe some of those Vanguard units and things like that want to get up closer early. Wow. Okay. 230 points, like relatively cheap. Giving you a sort of a universal buff that other armies just aren't going to have.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be looking and reading more and more into all this fluff that they've got lots and lots of fluff actually in this.
Yeah.
These are called the slim rule books, but they've each got quite a lot of good fun sort of little bits and bobs. Most of these fluff pieces, guys, are all about how people are getting absolutely like annihilated by these terrifying monsters, or telling like sea shanties of the time that their uncle's cousin's brother lost a leg to the Kraken.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. All right, interesting. That's the book. So they, as I did mention, all of the supplemental armies, did get a bit of a points update. They will probably get an update towards the end of the year or next year once our new edition of 9th Age 3.0 drops, I'm sure, because I know a lot of these supplemental books are actually quite popular, especially with our Aussie gamers. I know that Asklanders has been played quite a lot as well. But I think this is the one that's actually I'm finding really interesting, just because of the models that I have and as I told you guys, the way that I was modeling them. I think I'm going to have to think about using this in the future as well, Hugo. Not because they're like super strong or anything, but I think they lean into my play style a little bit more, being more in your face
and
also aggressive.
Like you've also got a smaller book, so it's less things to work out. Like you don't have to be like, oh, I could do this. I have endless possibilities. Here's like, you've got a very streamlined amount of possibilities. So less things to consider, essentially.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely. Caters to my small brain. Not so many choices. Fantastic. So you're building them. You said you'd bought some models. You're working
Yeah.
on some models.
So
Yeah.
I bought some of the sea elf stuff.
Sorry. I've not
Whatever.
Lumineth. That's
Yeah,
the Age of Sigmar
the
one.
other thing. But they're also the other Age of Sigma thing.
hmm This
Yeah.
was the sea elves were the ones. Are they officially now? They don't exist anymore, or do they actually still exist as a miniature line?
I don't know. But I
Yeah.
assume they still exist in the Age of Sigma world somewhere.
hmm So you got the
Yeah. I've
yeah.
got the sea eels as
hmm
the tritons,
hmm
and I've got that character that's riding this like unicorn squid thing that's going to be my avatar, and also going to be a monster of the deep thing, creature
Okay.
of the deep thing, whatever that mount
Yep.
thing is. Yeah,
Yep.
just use those.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, there's all
Mhm.
sorts of weird and wacky creatures there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Going for the turtles, I know they have like turtles as well, don't they?
Oh yeah, they've got like
The
this
turtles aren't
eternal.
mean enough. That's not mean enough for
No.
Dread Elves.
No.
You just
No.
need killer eels and
Yeah.
squids.
They do. They do have. They had the. They had the sea. The shark. Got some shark thing with like a
Sharks,
harpoon
yeah.
gun on the back of it. I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and I did actually see there was some stuff thematically linked in there with like harpoons and stuff like that, which
mhm.
kind of, hey, if you need some bits from the Scourge Runner chariot or whatever, it's
Mhm.
got heaps of bits in there that are incredibly flimsy and break off instantly. I
Mhm.
hate that kit. So those sound pretty cool, pretty interesting. We'll have to make sure we take some photos of all these different ones because I mean it's probably been a while since you've been doing some new hobby, right?
Yeah. So long.
I've kind of been dabbling with some of the printing and getting a new models out, but for me it's mainly been old models and actually getting them out and
Yeah.
finally getting them painted.
Fantasy. Yes. Like I dabbled a bit into the 40k, so I had to hobby.
Okay.
But yeah, no. This yeah, it's been a while since I've done some fantasy hobby.
Oh, good on you. All right. Well, I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing it. And
I
knowing
think
that
yeah, and I think that's the
you're
whole.
not going to have a horde army. You're not going to have
I don't
massive
think.
blocks.
No, no, I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any more tricks to this book. I think.
hmm Yep. It's good to hear, especially on like we're on the event that we're going to be running. Um, it's only 3,500 points, so your armies are going to be pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And that should help time wise as well.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's pretty much no. Yeah, so this book strips away most of the shooting,
yep.
so it's pretty
Yeah.
just combat, movement,
Mhm.
magic.
Yep. Combat movement, which
Mm-hmm.
actually sounds kind of awesome. So thinking about Riverwood Rumble and these salty sea raiders coming in, you've got to think which one of the units is the most foul mannered. All right, for scenario one, it's definitely you don't have salty veterans, so the salty veterans can't be foul mannered.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the sea wolves are foul mannered. You've got a really foul mannered captain, perhaps, and he's riding on a giant kraken.
Maybe.
Maybe
I don't know.
you realize half your army. You realize half your army doesn't actually need a boat to get to the event. They're all in the ocean anyway. Awesome. What else are you thinking characters wise? You mentioned you got the Lord on the big Kraken.
Oh, I've only really considered the captain and the wizard. I haven't because
Mhm.
there's only four characters. It's the captain, the assassin, the wizard, and the exarch.
Yep.
The exarch doesn't really speak to me, so
hmm
and then assassin, not really. So it's just the captain, and the wizard, really.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been really good to hear about them because these newer books, they, as you said, they tend to be quite pared down.
Mm.
But still seem like a fair bit of fun to play with and just to experiment with a little bit. And good to see you're pretty much bringing. I think you're bringing all three monsters, all four choices from the Fleet Menagerie. Actually, I think you're bringing all four choices from the Fleet Menagerie.
Well,
The
there's not many
Kraken.
choices. There's not many choices.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Triton,
pretty much
Kraken,
just
Avatar.
pretty much just a spread of a book essentially.
Yeah, fantastic. So we kind of see a bit of
I
what it can do.
I might try to fit in. I guess I might try to fit in the Salt Veterans.
Yep.
Might.
Yep. The Salt Veterans with their 5 to 12 model count. Still such a peculiar model count.
Even if it took 7 models or 12 models, it's still 300 points.
As long as they're not skirmish, I'm sick of skirmish trays. I've had enough of skirmish trays. All right. I'm probably going to play us out with some epic pirate rock if I can find some. So, Hugo, thanks so much for sharing the book with us. Looking forward to seeing it in a couple of weeks, or less than a couple of weeks now, which is fantastic. At the Riverwood Rumble. So thank you everyone for listening to Hugo and I's breakdown of the supplemental book from 9th Age Fantasy Battles, The Dread Fleet. And again, thank you, Hugo, for taking us through that, and happy hobbying.
No worries. Always a pleasure, Chris.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
See ya.